Why does this generator not want to run on 60 hertz? For the followers of this generator, you know in the last video, we got this to run on 50 hertz. At 60 hertz, we tripped the classic over voltage. And I was hoping, man, well, if it's 50 hertz and that's what a house needs, perfect, we'll just deal with it. A lot of people said, I'm not done investing my time in this generator until it's 100%. And unfortunately, after some research, I found out that houses are 60 hertz here in the US. So that means we're back to the drawing board. Since it's getting dark, let's flip on our work lights. Through the awesome advice and information people have sent me throughout this process, I ended up realizing that resistor, if you look it up in the parts manual, is actually supposedly 10 ohms. What we put in, 10 million ohms. Coming back to that resistor, it is hiding back in here just where we left it. We gotta crack this open here. We had to 10 million ohms. Let's work our way down to find 10 ohms. Another thing I didn't know, there's wattage ratings for these resistors. Someone said we need a 2.5 watt. I saw some like almost 4 watt ones. So we'll get something heavier, beefier once we actually figure out if we have the right one. 7.5, 6.8, not in here. 15, there we go. There is 10. Let's steal one of these guys. What we're gonna do is remove the current resistor that's in there. Okay. We're not actually gonna put terminals fully on this like we did on the first set like this. We're just going to try and pinch this underneath the terminals. That way we don't waste 2 terminals if we don't need to. Zoom in. Now we'll take this and just slide it underneath of here and tighten. Okay. Now you can see what we got going on here. We basically just jumped terminal to terminal like we had it without the fancy ends for serviceability. Now, if this works out, I will be absolutely amazed. And the way we'll also know we're in 60 hertz is because instead of the meter being over here, we should be over here. We're gonna flip it to 60 and try this out. Contact. Nope, no go. While we are on 60 hertz, it didn't like that. I did forget to look at the volts, so let me hold it again right here, and then we're gonna see what the volts are actually at. I see the problem. Now we're up to, going to be around 120. We're still on 50 hertz though. I don't understand. Let's try and swap that. That should be 60. For some reason, we're still on 50. And we can't get over the 60. The voltage is looking, let's see if we can play with some of these. Now we went to 220. It's interesting because now we stayed running, but we don't have 60 hertz anymore. Should have been doing is going between 60 and 50, but no matter what, we only had 50. One thing I can think of is let's ohm out that circuit and see if the circuit ohms out correctly. We're gonna go back to wire number 5 and remove this guy. We're looking for old classic wire 137A, which is this guy, if you can barely read that. Clipped onto the wire that was in terminal 5. Touching this, and we should get around 3,000 ohms. All right, let's drop down our range to 200. Touch there. When we do that, we settle at 0.2 ohms. Maybe we're in the wrong position, so let's switch. I flipped this to the other side because at this point I don't even know what's what. We're gonna come in here and touch, and we're getting about 10 ohms on that side. My understanding, this should be in the neighborhood of 3,000. Forgot we're supposed to be playing with the frequency potentiometer, so we'll max that out and let's see what we get when we touch this now. We are up to 10, what I think we started at. All the way down. Check again. Still right around 10, which for some reason makes sense because this is a 10 ohm resistor. Hold on a second. I'm trying to read these numbers here and it just is not working out good. I think that's 138 is what I get out of that. This one here looks like, let me find the tag. I think I make 137 out of this one. So that is this guy on the bottom. So if that's a 10 ohm resistor, duh, we're gonna be reading 10 ohms. All right, guys, I'm starting to lose it, but let's try this again. Touching the bottom one, we have little to nothing. Flipping it to the other side, which is either 50 or 60, who even knows at this point. Touching the back side of this terminal. We're still sitting at like 0.3 ohms. Okay, now let's max this out. Come on, show me 3,000. 0.5. Okay. The plus side, the generator runs in 60 hertz or 50 hertz position. The downside is the actual hertz don't change, so to run this house, that doesn't help us at all. I'll show you one more time what this thing's doing, and then hopefully someone can chime in here, because I'm starting to lose some hope here, even though I shouldn't, about where this thing is going wrong. Kicking myself in the pants for throwing that resistor away. I don't know why I did that. I'll show you all the gauges and you can see what goes on. Before we had over voltage, and now we have no change, so something tells me we just have the wrong resistor. But to even start with trying to find that, I don't know.